Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla's market share, the new battery passport, Tesla app updates, and the big problem with EV charging, so let's get into it. First up today, Tesla has released another app update this week, adding a number of great features. First is the addition of software version release notes to the app. Now when you get a vehicle update, the release notes that detail everything can be viewed on your phone. This used to only be available in vehicle, so it's just another easy way to see the latest features your car has when they arrive. For Sentry mode camera live streaming, this used to be located and somewhat hidden under security and drivers. You would click here, turn on Sentry mode if not on already, press the button to view live cameras, and then see the live feed. Now this has been updated to be located right at the top of app options when Sentry mode is enabled. This makes it very quickly accessible if there is something you need to check in on quickly with your car. One thing that still isn't viewable from the app is the interior camera though, and this has been highly requested, but it appears to have leaked in app code. There's a Sentry mode live camera asset within the app specifically labeled for when the interior camera is selected. This could come in handy to check on pets when the car is in pet mode, or to simply ensure that the car interior is safe when you're checking in on it. This is something we could see pretty soon, and each new feature and improvement to the Tesla app is continuing to separate it from all other vehicle apps. Speaking of Sentry mode, in Tesla version 2022.44.2, Tesla is making some improvements to that system. While it's a great system, it oftentimes has been known to over-detect random situations and under-detect actual break-ins. With this new version, they're adding a couple things. First, you can turn off the camera-based detection, so quote, Sentry mode will only save recordings that are triggered by intrusion, such as a glass breaking, a door opening, or the vehicle's tilt sensor being triggered. For some, this will be a very nice improvement that saves less useless footage. Another addition is the ability to select Sentry mode clip length. Once a threat is detected, Sentry mode records and saves for several minutes, but you can now dial this to exactly what you want. Tesla's release notes say Sentry mode now allows for even greater customization, including camera-based detection, which allows users to disable use of cameras to detect threats, Sentry mode clip length, which allows users to specify the length of the clip when a potential threat is detected. To adjust these Sentry mode settings, tap Controls, Safety, Sentry mode. This update hasn't rolled out entirely yet, but should be arriving in the coming days and weeks to all users. Again, it's another thing separating Tesla's vehicle software from other vehicle software. Next up today, Tesla has secured a large fleet order from Caltrans. They're trying to electrify their fleet of about 1,200 vehicles by 2030, and so far they've worked toward this goal with 54 Toyota RAV4 Primes, those are plug-in hybrids, 15 Chevy Bolts, 11 Nissan Leafs, and 1 Ford F-150 Lightning. Their order with Tesla is their biggest yet, ordering 399 rear-wheel drive Model 3s. That's an order worth about $18 million, and while some criticize their decision, quote, the agency argued that it offers the best value for taxpayers than any other all-electric vehicles. Rear-wheel drive Model 3s are the most efficient vehicles available, so they will surely lead to fuel savings long-term. Reportedly, they've already received 236 of their Model 3s. This is very similar to an order of around 200 to 300 Model 3s planned by New York City back in December of 2021. Teslas are making more and more sense, in particular for fleet vehicles, and we're seeing many large orders come in over the past months and years. Overall, this is helping Tesla's market share and deliveries each quarter, but the competition is beginning to arrive to a degree. New data from S&P Global Mobility shows that Tesla still owns the US EV market, but their market share is shrinking. As pointed out by Electrek, quote, when you had close to 100% of the market, there's only one way to go, and that's down. But in 2020, Tesla owned 79% of the EV market in the US. Now in 2022, that number has decreased to 65%. That's still incredibly impressive, but is showing rising competition. Quote, although US electric vehicle registrations remain dominated by Tesla, the brand is showing the expected signs of shedding market share as more entrants arrive. Much of Tesla's share loss is to EVs available in more accessible MSRP range, below $50,000, where Tesla does not yet truly compete. There were over 525,000 EVs registered in the first 9 months of 2022 in the US, and nearly 340,000 of those were Teslas. S&P has made a few predictions here as well, saying that by 2025, the number of EV models available to buy in the US should grow from 48 to 159. Tesla is only expected to be adding the Cybertruck into that mix, but will continue ramping production of all of their cars, particularly the Model Y. S&P also thinks that Tesla's share could drop to below 20% of the overall market by 2025. Of course, that's assuming a lot with EV production capacity, which so far has been the big problem for all but Tesla. Ford this week announced that they have now made 150,000 Mach-E's. This car was first shipped at the end of 2020 and has been very popular, making Ford the second best-selling EV company in in the US next to Tesla. In the US so far in 2022, Ford has sold 31,000 Mach-E's, and they plan to increase production capacity into the future, aiming for an annual production rate of 270,000, 600,000 by the end of 2023, and 2 million by 2026. Some fun facts that Ford shared about the Mach-E are that, quote, over 73% of Mustang Mach-E customers are new to the Ford brand, with nearly all of them switching from gas-powered vehicles. Space white is the most popular color in the US, rapid red and shadow black in Europe, and blue metallic is most popular in China. The premium Mustang Mach-E with extended range is the most popular across the US, Europe, and China, and 30% of Mach-E customers in the US are millennials, while almost half in China are ages 27 to 37. 150,000 Mach-E's is a great milestone, but it does point to a few different things. First, Tesla still has Ford beat with production so far and current run rates for the Model Y. This is pretty obvious, but will likely remain this way for a while as Tesla continues ramping up Giga Texas. Next, for reliability, Consumer Reports just a few days ago dropped the Mach-E from recommendations. Consumer Reports has an interesting history with electric vehicles in general, but they said, quote, in our survey, owners reported in-car electronics problems with the display screen freezing, some even required a hardware replacement. Other reported problems were reported with the electrical system, with battery pack and charging system issues, battery cell failure, and multiple battery and charge errors. Some of these issues directly relate to charging, and unfortunately, I'd guess this doesn't always have to do with the vehicle from Ford. Quote, multiple battery and charge errors could easily refer to broken third-party charging stations, since these are a big part of owning an EV. If it's not a Tesla in the US, you are stuck with Electrify America, EVgo, or other networks that are not really reliable. In order to road trip in these cars, these are the available charging options, so they bring down the quality of the product if they do not work. I have experienced this personally, and I just put up a video all about my Rivian road trip experience, and that's linked below. In any case, Tesla of course has superchargers that are incredibly reliable and continually expanding. They just hit 40,000 chargers globally, and this raises questions for future EV charging. Does America have enough chargers for upcoming EVs? S&P estimates that there will be 159 available EV models in the US by 2025. If there is any merit to Tesla making up 20% of a market share at that point, we'd be looking at about 5 million or so, possibly more EVs selling each year that are not Teslas. The way it's currently set up, one of the biggest roadblocks for EV adoption is charging infrastructure. Quote, the network's build-out has a chicken or egg quality. EV advocates say many drivers will only be comfortable purchasing vehicles if rapid charging is as easy as using a pump at a gas station. Yet businesses interested in offering charging say they can't make money until more EVs are on the road. Right now in the US, there are more than 145,000 places to get gas. For EVs, there are about 11,600 locations where you can fast charge any EV, and the big issue is that those aren't reliable. They aren't 11,600 locations where you know in 20 minutes you can gain enough charge to continue your trip. They are 11,600 locations where you can likely charge pretty quickly. However, you may be stuck charging for a while like I was throughout my California road trip recently. This is an issue I've never had with Tesla Superchargers, and the big problem coming up is that nearly all other automakers are relying on the government or private charging companies to provide EV charging. The simple act of being able to refuel your car is being left up to question, regardless of how great an electric vehicle is. Quote, the Biden administration will require that equipment receiving public funds is working and available for use at least 97% of the time. Studies indicate an uphill climb for the non-Tesla charging industry to comply. Equipment is often on the fritz. Communications can break down between the car and the charger and the company operating the charging network, and with payment systems. On occasion, a wasp crawls into the gear and builds a nest. Vandals can strike, sticking gum in the credit card reader and bashing the machines. In August, J.D. Power found that 1 in 5 owners didn't successfully charge when they first tried. In 2022, UC Berkeley tested 657 EV fast chargers in the greater San Francisco Bay Area and found that more than a quarter did not work. 25% of charging infrastructure in one of the EV capitals of this country did not work. As detailed in a Fox Business article about charging infrastructure, a big issue here is the tension between private companies and the government for charging infrastructure. Many want private companies installing chargers instead of government programs, especially if utility companies end up operating government-funded chargers. At the same time, network operators aren't incentivized to install chargers where they aren't going to make money. This can lead to big holes in infrastructure that many argue the government needs to fill. Arguably, a big way this could be avoided, though, is by companies truly investing in charging infrastructure as Tesla has done. All of those gaps would be filled because it's all part of the EV product. From the beginning, Tesla knew that people wouldn't buy their cars if they couldn't drive them. You need lots of reliable fast charging options, and this has to be a part of the product as sold, but no other EV company wants to do that. Many see it as a great thing for Tesla, but it's really unfortunate for EVs in general that the only real solutions here actually involve Tesla. First, Tesla has opened up their connector, renamed NACS, to potentially replace CCS in North America as a charging standard. This would reduce cost all around, reduce size of charging handles and ports, and should improve reliability. That's one way this could improve, since there clearly is a bigger issue than just the amount of chargers available. At the same time as well, Tesla has talked about opening their chargers to non-Tesla EVs. They've done this in many countries throughout Europe, but due to their high market share in the US, they haven't opened chargers here yet. It would cause a lot of congestion and needs a solution for connecting an EV to a Tesla Supercharger before it's possible. Once they do this, though, Tesla may end up being the charging solution for all EVs in North America. EVs in general are getting more popular, and GM has many models planned coming in the next few years. For charging, though, they have no sizable plans. They're working with EVgo for 2,700 fast charging stations by the end of 2025. Hopefully those work. Right now, it's an insane advantage for Tesla, so if they do open up their chargers to other EVs, they will be the ones to fix charging infrastructure, at least into the future. Regarding Tesla's big advantage in charger deployment as well, and cost there, their lead could continue to widen. The real question I have here, though, is what are other brands planning to do if Tesla decides that they want to be a walled garden and figures out a way to keep most of their chargers to themselves? It could be a big problem, and buying any non-Tesla EV in the next few years will likely face these massive infrastructure issues. I really want to see it improve. I'm rooting for all EVs, but frustrated that no other company sees the importance of building their own chargers. Next up today, Tesla, Quebec, LG, and more are working on a new battery passport to help track battery materials. This is becoming especially important because of the new EV incentive in the US, which has strict battery material and manufacturing requirements. An important part of battery material mining is sustainability and ethical operations, which is why the Global Battery Alliance, GAB, is pushing for this battery passport. This is an industry group comprising over 100 companies involved in the EV battery supply chain, from Glencore to Tesla, LG, and many more. Their goal is to, quote, help establish a sustainable battery value chain by 2030. There are many steps and materials used to make up a cathode, anode separator, and electrolyte, which go into a battery cell, and tracking those can be very difficult. Quote, the battery passport is a digital representation of a battery that conveys information about all applicable ESG and life cycle requirements based on a comprehensive definition of a sustainable battery. Each battery passport will be a digital twin of its physical battery, enabled by the Digital Battery Passport platform, which offers a global solution for securely sharing information and data. This platform aims to go beyond enabling the performance management of just one battery to that of all batteries across the full industry value chain. This is something that has been in the works for quite some time, and the first step of it has been announced in their greenhouse gas rulebook. This may sound inconsequential, but it will make a big impact when it comes to tracking battery materials for the new EV tax incentive in the US. It will also make a big impact ensuring that batteries are responsibly sourced. The list of companies supporting this is very long, so it will become a main staple of batteries as more batteries are produced in the coming years. Last up today, some updates about other automakers. Over at Rivian, CEO RJ Scaringe sat down with the head of global automotive research at Redburn and discussed a number of things. Scaringe is confident Rivian will sell everything they make, with strong order backlogs stretching into 2024, and noting that they are still seeing a strong order intake for their vehicles. For the future, he noted how important battery materials are, and that it's the least talked about hurdle for mass EV adoption. Quote, it's critical to lock in capacity now for future production. Rivian is building a portfolio of relationships to ensure that they are set up for the future. He talked about Rivian's challenging year and how launching 4 different vehicles was incredibly tough. Now they're focused on ramping production consistently, steering themselves towards profitability throughout 2023 and cutting costs. He also noted that they have enough capital to last at least until 2025. For the R2 platform, which they plan to launch in 2026, they plan to showcase capability, aerodynamics, refinements, and functionality. This is planned to be their lower-priced vehicle platform platform and should be much higher volume, launching in multiple global markets. One of the most exciting things he mentioned for Rivian owners, though, is that over-the-air software updates would allow for range improvements, and that range improvements to the whole lineup were coming next year. This is something Tesla has done in the past, so it's great to see Rivian figuring out better efficiency in software and not just hardware, and pushing it to owners to make their cars even better. Over at Lordstown, their first batch of 500 EV pickups is leaving their Ohio Foxconn facility for customer delivery. This is big news because the survival of that company came into question many times. We may be seeing these on the road soon, and it's great to see another electric truck option coming to fruition. Over at VW, they are reportedly in talks with Foxconn as well to help manufacture future Scout brand EVs. The concept for VW's revitalized Scout EVs look very much like the Rivian R1T and R1S, and would likely be entering that exact market at lower price points. At the same time, they've been talking with Magna to co-develop and produce this vehicle. There's a lot in question for who will make these cars or when they will come, but VW said we are very pleased with the progress the Scout team is making and with the enthusiasm it's already generating among current fans and future customers. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see all the issues I had on my recent Rivian road trip, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.